you'll go to the and what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure I can hear it. Okay. Just come out here.
And so we had to do that.
heads up our Fullerton Foundation, Community Foundation, and she's going to give us an update on the good work that's going on there.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for letting me go first, because it's a day off, and so my kids have to follow me around today. So I'm the chair of the Fullerton Community Foundation. A lot of great stuff going on. We just had a meeting and updated our charter and some goals for the year, and so I just wanted to let everyone know, for all the nonprofits in the room, we are going to, as a result of comments and surveys that you guys put in your membership survey, we're going to be offering some trainings throughout the year. And so we're going to share those dates and links to register through the member newsletter. So if you're a member, you will get an email with some information coming out. And we're going to focus on grants. At the end of the month, we're still tentative on the date and time. They will be virtual, using a grant portal, or using a portal, the grant search tool. So we're going to kind of walk through one of them and how they operate, and kind of like to help you determine if you should make an investment in one or not, because I know that's always a common question. Do I pay for this? Do I not pay for this? How long do I go on the free subscription? So we'll give you access, because I paid for one, on what the extra bells and whistles are if you do pay. Okay, and then in March, we're actually going to assess a grant that has actually been opened up. They opened up in March, and so if you're interested in applying for that grant, then we'll kind of have a Q&A around, do you qualify? Are you eligible? Is it worth putting the time and energy into submitting this grant? Okay, so that's just some of the things that we're adding on to our committee to kind of help add benefit to the nonprofit members in the room. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you, Victoria. Have a good day with your kids. What are you doing next? Ice cream? Okay. All right, so how many of you have an e-bike? Anybody in the room? Okay, a couple. A few. Okay, that's good. How many of you have rode an e-bike before? Maybe you don't have one, but you've gotten to enjoy the bike on the beach or wherever. Okay. How many have almost run over somebody on an e-bike? Okay. Yeah, equal numbers. Okay. Well, we're excited to have this presentation today. Corporal Braley is going to lead us in a session on e-bike safety. I think there are cards in front of you for questions. So when we get to the end, if you've got a question, please write it down, and then we'll collect those and we'll bring them up to the front. So let's welcome Officer Braley. Thank you.
Should I shut this off? Somebody uses
What's
this.
that?
Do I have to shut this off? Just leave it.
Go ahead, try that. See if it's on. It's on.
Okay. Thank you for having me. Here to talk about e-bikes. I'm sure that most of you, I would imagine that the reason that I'm here is because most of you are aware that they've become a pretty significant, I don't want to say issue in our community, but it's something that's trending upwards. I'm sure that you've all seen videos on social media, these mobs of 18 or 17-year-olds riding around their Surons and that kind of thing. So it's a little bit of a hot button issue, and there's been some changes in our municipal code as of this week. So we'll talk about that. So again, my name is Randall Braley. I'm a corporal here with the police department. I work in the traffic bureau. I did several years in the detective bureau. I was working property crimes, so burglaries, financial crimes, that sort of thing. I came out for a couple years. I worked as an FTO in patrol and field training officer in patrol. And now I'm on the motorcycle. I work traffic enforcement in our traffic bureau. So it's something that we deal with every day. And this presentation was put together by my supervisor, Sergeant Jeffrey Beatty. He's not able to be here today, but he gave me this PowerPoint. And if it's bad, you can blame him. Anyways, this presentation is largely geared towards, it's educational for us we talk to parents and in particular high school students about a lot of this stuff, because I think there's a lot of people who maybe have some misconceptions about bicycle laws or bicycle safety, especially when we get into the Surons and the Tularias and those things. So that's what this presentation is designed for, is to bring some education to those groups. We're going to talk about it here today, but I want to make sure that everybody gets something out of this. So there are index cards if you would prefer to write down your question to talk about at the end. But I'm certainly open to discussion. If anybody has a question, feel free to raise your hand. We can get into it. All right. So purpose here is to educate students and parents about bike safety. Again, that's what this presentation was sort of geared towards. And hopefully give them some, especially the students, high schoolers, a little bit more information to understand what they're doing can be pretty dangerous. I think a lot of them get these Surons, Talarias, and they don't understand. They may be very skilled riders, but they don't have that understanding of how dangerous the roads can be. Explain some of the rules of the roads and promote safe bicycle riding habits. Hopefully these videos work.
My name is Eric Crapo. I am a senior and I run local time.
That's all the way up.
I've been involved in 2 accidents in my life.
System here.
And, the first one was on August 2005, a week before I started 4th grade. And I was going into the underpass on the Canyon Bike Trail, and my feet came off the pedals of my bike. It was a fixie. A fixie bike, that's the bike I was riding at the time of my accident. It's basically a bike that the bike chain is hooked up to the pedals in a way that as fast as the wheels are spinning, that's how fast the pedals are basically spinning. The pedals kept spinning. I looked down to try to get my feet back on the pedals, but I was going so fast. I mean, I looked down for a split second. By the time I looked up, the wall was right in front of me, and I hit the face of the wall going 25 miles per hour. And thank God I was wearing a helmet, a free agent skateboard helmet, and it saved my life. I would not be here today if it was not for that helmet. Even with the helmet and like the protection that it gave me, I was still knocked unconscious. My face still sustained some pretty good damage. I shattered multiple bones in my face. I broke my palate. I broke my arm very badly. And the helmet is designed to protect your head, and it does a great job of that, but it does not keep you from breaking bones in your legs, arms. You're still vulnerable when riding a bike, and it's you have to be really careful. I was always a good bike rider. I just, freak accidents happen, a split second, sometimes experience doesn't matter. It just happens, right? And not wearing a helmet, can have pretty serious implications. I mean, just simple things like just falling backwards. I mean, it can do some damage if you're not wearing a helmet. So.
Is it specific to e-bikes or just like in general?
It's going to be more specific to e-bikes. This specific crash was a fixie bike, which I'll talk about in just a second.
The statistics are for e-bikes?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I believe those are just bicycles. I'm not sure if, it's a good question, because I'm not sure if NHTSA is classifying or keeping track of stats with e-bikes versus regular bicycles. I'm not even sure if our traffic collision reporting system, I'm not even sure that that is differentiating between e-bikes and regular bikes. So it's another limitation. These are all things that these things come in trends, right? So he's talking about fixie bicycles where the wheel and the pedals are linked. So if you pedal backwards, the wheel's going to go backwards. If you pedal forwards, the wheel's going to go forward. They create a lot of torque. And so when I first started in law enforcement, that was kind of the big trend. You would see people on these bicycles, and it was, you could do tricks on them just because of the way that the pedals work. Well, now we see a lot of that same stuff, except it's moved into the e-bike sector. And so you have a lot of people trying to do those same types of stunts, wheelies and stoppies and all that sort of thing, except now they have bicycles that can do 50 miles an hour on the street. So, but again, we're constantly playing catch up. So because these trends change, now we need to be able to track our e-bike statistics. And I'm not sure if we're there yet in terms of being able to keep track of enforcement and collisions specifically related to e-bikes. It's another video. This is a crash, unfortunately. I think this guy's okay, but it's pretty gnarly. So again, we have people that maybe well-intending, they're buying these types of electric bicycles for their kids, or in a lot of cases, we're talking more so about electric motorcycles. We'll get into the difference there in just a minute. But we have people who buy these for their kids, and then the problem is they don't really understand what they're getting, and they don't realize that what they just purchased for their kid is, for their 16-year-old, is something that can do 50 miles per hour on the street. And so if you get into something like this, you have no training, you've never ridden something this fast, and all of a sudden you find yourself going this fast down the hill without the training, the experience to know what to do to get yourself stopped or to avoid that collision. Here's another one. So that one is more of an electric scooter, which we'll talk about. These are, I'm sure you've seen them, they're all over near Cal State Fullerton. You guys have seen them, I think. They're a flat board with two wheels and then stand-up handlebars. You stand on it and you ride. Again, these things, they get up to pretty serious speeds, and in my opinion, the brakes are not sufficient on these things in order to justify or to stop yourself at these speeds. And again, people just don't realize what they're getting. So these are some NHTSA statistics. I think these are actually 2024. I don't think these have been updated for 2025. But over 39,000 people were killed on the United States roads in traffic collisions, and 3,800 of those were in California. We had 16 fatal traffic collisions in the city of Fullerton, 2024, and 67 bicyclists hurt in traffic collisions here in Fullerton.
Can I just push on the bicyclist
collision? Yeah.
Does that only include statistics, only count bike versus motorist, what about solo crashes and bike on bike?
So these statistics are specifically related to traffic collisions, and we're generally not taking traffic collision reports if you just fall off of your bicycle. So in reality, injuries on bicycles are probably higher. In 2024, bicyclists were found at fault more than drivers in the collisions where it was vehicle versus bicyclist. There was a few months where they were not at fault, but overall the trend is the bicyclists were found at fault more. And again, I think it comes from people misunderstand the rules of the road. I think they don't understand that they have to obey the rules of the road. And if you're riding the wrong direction, which we'll talk about in a second here, if you're riding the wrong direction, those drivers are not tending to look the way that you're coming. So they start to pull out of a driveway and not expecting it. They're looking this way for oncoming traffic, and the bicycle's coming up the opposite direction. So, yes.
Clarity on that.
Sure.
In Fullerton, we're allowed to ride our bicycles on the sidewalk. But we have no rule against that.
That's correct.
And so are you saying that if someone's riding a bike on the sidewalk, they still have to ride in the direction of traffic?
Yes. Yes.
I think that might be a gap in knowledge there.
Okay. Majority of collisions involving bicyclists involve right-of-way violations, riding on the wrong side of the road. Again, if you're riding northbound and southbound lanes, vehicles are not looking for you coming that direction. Other issues, improper turning, not following signals or signs, and then speed. So the vehicle code definition of a bicycle is any device that a person may ride propelled exclusively by human power through belts, chains, or gears, and has at least one wheel. which I don't know how you would ride it without wheels, but. Fully operable pedals, I'm sorry, this is a definition of e-bicycles. Fully operable pedals, an electric motor less than 750 watts. And there's different classes, which I think is in the next slide here. Yeah, perfect. So there's different classes of bicycles. Class 1 is the lowest, is pedal assist motors with a max speed of up to 20 miles per hour. Class 2 is can have a throttle assist, which is a hand throttle, with a max speed of 20 miles per hour. And class 3 is pedal assisted with a max speed of 28 miles per hour. And then beyond that is when we get into what we consider e-motorcycles, which is, again, these are the things that people are buying for their kids, not realizing that these don't even meet the legal definition of a bicycle. So this is your Surons, your Talarias, that sort of thing, which are not street legal. They are not to be on the street in any capacity, and people don't understand that. So there's different rules with different classes. Without getting too in the weeds here, class 3, you're required to have a helmet. Juveniles are required to have a helmet for any type of bicycle or e-bike, and then over 18, you're required to have a helmet for class 3. Then we also have e-scooters. Again, must follow the rules of the road. You're restricted to streets with a 25-mile-per-hour speed limit, or in the bikeway with a 35-mile-per-hour speed limit. Max speed of 15 miles per hour. You have to use the bike lane if there's one available. And under 18, you must have a helmet, and requires a driver's license. These are all over Cal State Fullerton. I see them constantly, all over Commonwealth.
Can I ask a question? Usually the state has the rule that you have to ride an e-scooter in a bike lane that's available.
That's correct. These are not super common. Maybe you guys have seen them. It's like a one-wheel device. Again, they're electric, required to wear a helmet, restricted to streets with a 35 mile per hour speed limit or less, unless you're in the bikeway. Max speeds, no greater than reasonable or prudent. What that means is basically going to be at the officer's discretion of whether they believe that the speed that the person was traveling was reasonable or not. And then ultimately, if it becomes if they're issued a citation, it goes to court, then the judge makes a determination if they feel that speed was unsafe or unreasonable. And you must be 16 years or older to ride. I have seen one guy downtown who has one of these. I think it's very fast. He does like stunts, primarily on private property, I believe. Just not something that we run into a ton, but it's in here because, again, parents see it as a method of transportation. And then electric motorcycles. These are, again, the Surons, Talarias, those sorts of things. There's no pedals, and it's operated with a throttle just like my motorcycle that's outside. They can get pretty aggressive speeds. A lot of times they're modified so that they can go faster than the manufacturer ships it. And again, they're illegal on any highway, which includes your sidewalks, parking lots, parks, all that stuff. And in my experience, these are the problem. You know, these are the ones that we're seeing. These are the mobs of 17-year-olds that are taking over streets, taking over intersections. So they can be towed. It's essentially towing them for not being registered, because it's a vehicle that's now on the roadway that's not registered. And they cannot be registered and issued a license plate because they don't have all the safety equipment that would be required. They don't have brake lights, they don't have turn signals, headlights, all the things that would be required of a vehicle or a motorcycle.
Where can they go? Just motorcycle, like wherever, motocross?
Yeah, you can ride them on private tracks, or they can't be on our trails. They can't be anywhere really. Yeah, the desert. Yeah. But again, I mean, they can be reasonably affordable. You can find them all over Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp, that sort of thing. And again, parents just don't understand. They're just, hey, like my kid can get outside, get some exercise. He's not going to be sitting in front of the TV playing Fortnite. But they're not supposed to be on the road. And so that's where this education component comes in.
Question?
Yes.
For those e-motorcycles, if you go to any high school in our city right now or junior high, you'll see a whole bunch of them parked everywhere there.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're using our city streets to get there, could that be forced to then?
Absolutely, and it is. We do stop them when we see them. I don't want to say it's zero tolerance. I stopped one on Saturday. Again, it comes down to education. He was not riding like a jerk. He was wearing a helmet. He wasn't weaving in and out of traffic, doing wheelies, that sort of thing. He just didn't know that this was not supposed to be on the street. Again, people are thinking of it as bicycles, and that's not what they are. So, and then the other thing is there are some that I've seen, I've even stopped them not realizing, but there are some that look similar to these, but they actually have pedals. The kids are just not using them. So that would potentially fall into the class 2. So sometimes from a distance they can look like this, and you know they're trying to make it look cool to be attractive to the kids, so they're going to make it look as much like a dirt bike as possible. So whether all of those are $3,000 Surons in the school parking lots, I don't know, but we do enforce it as we see them. Helmets, it's important, and again, I think people just take it for granted. It will absolutely save your life, just like a seatbelt. And people just don't, I don't know, they just think that it's not going to happen to them, or they're not going to crash, or if I crash, I'm not going to hit my head. It'll absolutely save your life. We've seen it. There's a quick video. I think this is from Irvine PD.
Hi, everybody. It's Officer Eric, Irvine Police Department. I wanted to do a quick video on some helmet safety. Something that we always see as officers, resource officers in the field is children and sometimes even adults not wearing the helmets correctly. So doing a quick review. First and foremost, we want to make sure that we have helmets that are adjustable if possible, especially with their young children, but I also recognize some helmets do not come on that list. We want to make sure that's the sizing of their heads when we're making our purchase. We want to place our helmet on top of our head. We want to make sure that it is snug. Take the 2 straps, put them together. Now here's the big thing with the younger children. We want to grab it and kind of move around. It's really loose. You cut the tightening, where now it's no longer there. Protect your head nice and square. Another thing is a 2-finger rule. Take the 2 fingers from the eyebrow, you go to touch the helmet from the eyebrow. If the helmet is like this, it's not protecting your face. Rule. Not only can we teach ourselves as parents this, but also our students. So they know. Got the helmet on, drop that down. Now another cool thing about the 2-finger rule is it works with the strap. We want to make sure that there's enough space. So that 2 fingers, you should be touching the strap to your jawline or chin. If it's not, it's too loose, with an exaggeration here, that means we can tighten it up. So there was some sort of catastrophic situation, the helmet stays on tight. Big thing for older students, they love to do the spaghetti noodles. Let's get those wrapped down. It does no good when you hit your head, it pops right off. Again, that's just a quick safety instruction over a helmet, bicycle, skateboard, and scooter riding. 2-finger rule, make sure those straps are there. Have a great day and make sure you travel safely and wear your helmet.
So one thing he mentioned, I think he called it.
Hi, everybody. It's Officer Eric, Irvine Police Department.
So one thing he mentioned, he talked about the straps just hanging down, the kids don't buckle them. Again, is that helmet doing anyone any good if it's not buckled? Absolutely not. He also talked about the 2-finger rule here in the strap. In my opinion, that's even still too loose because I think about my motorcycle helmet or my personal bicycle helmet. If I can get 2 fingers in here, I'm pretty sure I can pull that strap up. So if you hit the pavement at any kind of speed, I think there's a good chance you can still pull that helmet off. But helmets reduce the risk of head injury by up to 85% in a collision. 900 people die in bicycle collisions each year nationwide. And ERs treat more than 500,000 people for bicycle-related injuries, many of which are head trauma. So again, anyone under 18 must wear a helmet while riding. This is bicycles, e-bikes, and all riders of class 3 e-bikes must wear them even if they're an adult. CBC 21200A regulates bicycles and their operation on the roads. They must follow the rules of the road while operating on a roadway. They can operate on a sidewalk unless a municipal code prohibits it. We do not have such a municipal code. The exception is we have our new e-bike specific municipal code, which I'll talk about at the end, which allows them on the sidewalk under a certain speed. So again, this is where there's, I think, misconceptions, especially for our kids. They're out riding in the street, not realizing that they have to follow all the rules of the road. They have to stop for stop signs. They have to stop for red lights, just like a vehicle would if they're going to be in the roadway. If there's specific regulatory traffic signs, no right on red, no U-turn, no turn movements, they are required to follow those rules, to obey those signs, and they're required to ride with traffic. Right turns here. I can't read this. Yeah. Yeah. So you need to merge into the bike lane, turn from the curb. That's CBC 21717. Left turns from a one-way street. Again, what we see most commonly is kind of using all parts of the road, even though they're supposed to be following with traffic or going the same direction as traffic. So in other words, bicyclist is coming up here, and this is not just juveniles. I mean, this is, you see, are people that ride the loop and that kind of thing. They get over on Bass Venturi and they want to use all parts of the road to keep their ride going. You know, they're out for exercise, so they don't want to stop to take the time to wait for a light or whatever. So what we'll commonly see is they're coming up here. They know they got to make a left. Well, let me just get over to this side of the road. I know there's no cars over here, so I'm going to go over here, even though traffic would be coming this way. And then you get up to the intersection, and then you're on your way. You're out of the intersection. But even though that's what they want to be doing, the CVC says that, or the vehicle code says that they need to be making a left from this lane, just like a car would. Bike lanes.
I think that was making it clear that you're not required to ride in the bike lane in a bad condition.
I'm sorry?
I think that's trying to show on the right that you don't have to ride in the bike lane when the conditions of the road is bad.
That's correct. That's correct. Here's our hand signals. I always remember these from driver's ed, and I cannot remember ever seeing anybody on the road using these. But I do see sometimes bicyclists, and you know, as they should be, especially like I said, where the trail lets out on the Bass Venturi, you will see them using their hand signals as they're coming up to the stop sign, that kind of thing. So it is helpful letting other drivers know what you're going to be doing. Cannot be wearing headphones, and you cannot be distracted while riding, for example, by using your cell phone. What do we think?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can go with the walk signal, but you have to yield to other vehicles and pedestrians that are already lawfully in the roadway.
Can we get some clarity on that? So these are meant to direct pedestrians.
That's correct. Yes.
And I'm wondering if you're bringing it up because sometimes pedestrians are allowed, we have some lights that are cycles to let the pedestrian get a jump zone.
Right.
Better visibility. Is that kind of what this is trying to get at?
Yes. So there's a specific vehicle code, and I don't have it in front of me, but it says that bicycles are allowed to utilize the pedestrian control signals. So in other words, they can go at the light if there's a walk signal, but again, they have to yield to other vehicles and pedestrians. They're already in the roadway. So they're allowed to go, but they take last priority.
I have a question about that.
Sure.
Because how, so there's a common misunderstanding that people think you're supposed to ride your bike in the crosswalk, and then there's also, I have a friend who got hit crossing Harbor on Wilshire, and he was faulted because he swerved to avoid a car that made a left turn in front of him, and he ended up in the crosswalk. Are bikes allowed in the crosswalk or not?
They can be in the crosswalk, yes, yes. It's hard, well, I mean, without knowing the specific details about the collision, it's hard for me to speculate as to what happened, yeah.
That's where my confusion came from.
But they are allowed to be in the crosswalk, yeah.
Okay.
I do have a question about that as well. I
Sure.
feel like the last time I rode a bike, bikes are gonna be in a crosswalk, pedestrians get off the bike and walk it. Is that not true anymore?
I don't believe so. All right, what do we think?
Can't tell what the lights.
I'm sorry, what?
I can't tell what the lights were. Still. But you know.
So, it's all, let me see. Okay, so this is I believe a dedicated right turn lane here. These lights for this direction are red. However, unless there's a sign that I'm missing, I don't think so. The driver over here is allowed to make a right on red, right? Maybe we'll play it again, but look for where the bicyclist is coming from. Sorry, my fault. Okay. So we can all agree he came to a stop like he's supposed to for the red?
Yep.
And now he's checking to make sure it's safe for him to make his right on red?
Was that bicyclist coming off of the sidewalk or right in the street?
I believe he's on the sidewalk, yeah. But he's now entered the roadway. So if you're gonna enter the roadway, you have to yield to vehicles that are already lawfully in the intersection. And ultimately, this comes down to riding on the wrong side because should this guy have any expectation that somebody's gonna come out of nowhere at 20 miles per hour off the sidewalk in front of his car? Probably not. We hope that our drivers are gonna be paying attention and see this coming, defensive driving, trying to avoid collisions, but unfortunately, that's just not the reality that we live in. So as bicyclists, and this is what we're trying to get across to our high school students, you have to ride defensively. You have to, they tell us in motorcycle school, ride like you're invisible, pretend nobody can see you. And that's the best way to be defensive about your riding and avoid getting yourself into these situations by doing everything that you can to not put yourself in that position. So if the bicyclists had been on the other side riding with traffic, we wouldn't have been in this situation. Is there a question?
Yeah, do they have any courses or any classes they have to take before purchasing something this speed?
No.
Is there a way we can change that?
Yeah, it's above my pay grade. I know that I don't know if he was introduced. Sergeant Garcia is here. He's from he's a supervisor of the Community Services Bureau at the police department. And I know that we have some presentations coming up with the schools where our SROs, our school resource officers, and our traffic officers are going to be presenting to all of the high schools about e-bike safety. I think it's going to be some variation of this presentation. But yeah, there's no legal requirement. You can buy one of these for a couple grand on Facebook Marketplace and give it to your kid, maybe or maybe not with a helmet, and they can be on the road, you know, doing whatever they want, really. So I think for us, as a police department, we're not really, in my opinion, doing our job if we're just going out and doing enforcement. I think the education, it has to be a component of this. And I think that's going to be part of what happens with our new municipal code is we got to go out and do some education, make sure people understand the new law, and then also understanding the rules of the road, especially for our 16, 17-year-olds. A lot of them don't even have driver's licenses. That's why they have these motorcycles or their bicycles, as, you know, they think of them. So yeah, I hope I answered your question.
It's a good 2-minute warning.
Okay.
I know there's so much we can cover. The circumstance is independent of being an e-bike. I mean,
Absolutely, you're right. No, and this, yeah, it's a good point. That is not a specific e-bike thing. And I really don't mean to come up here and seem like I'm targeting bicyclists. I'm not at all. The point of this is just to drive home to these high schoolers how dangerous it can be, and here's some things that you can do to reduce your likelihood of being in a crash. So again, these are just regular bicycles, but with the advent of social media, you get this mob mentality. You have these groups of kids that all don't know any better, and hey, my friends are doing it, and it's been fine for them, so I'm going to do it too. It's unfortunate, and so I think that's really the goal, is for us to get out there and get the message across. I'll just try to get through this really quick. We do impound our Surons and our Talarias and those sorts of e-motorcycles for being unregistered and on the roadway. The release fees for us to come and get it cleared is $220. We're probably going to require that it be registered as an off-highway vehicle also. And then you have tow fees, which are pretty substantial. So, questions?
Can you talk a little bit, I know we don't have a lot of time, but are there particular hotspots in Fullerton where you've noticed, like particularly e-bikes? I know you mentioned schools, plus Fullerton, of course, but any other information you can share with us?
Yeah, normal, everyday people who are out for exercise are all over the trails on e-bikes. I would say most of the bikes on the trails are probably e-bikes, and again, they're not causing any issues for anybody. But generally, I would say for the most part, what I've seen is off of like Skyline, Brea, Bastion-Chury, that kind of area. But I mean, it's all over. We've seen them all over. We've seen them at Magnolia and Orange Fork, groups that came probably from like Buena Park area and then end up in our city. We've had radio calls on these, mobs of bicyclists, and they're we get dispatched to say Lemon and Orange Fork, and then by the time we get to Lemon and Orange Fork, we're getting another call that they're at Brea and Bastion-Chury. So, and we're just chasing our tail. So, and ultimately, a lot of these kids, they're going to run from us because they know that we're not going to chase them. Because I don't want to be chasing them through traffic, crash myself, crash into somebody else, or worse, cause one of them to, in an effort to evade us, to get themselves into a bad accident. So for the most part, we're not chasing them. Better for us to identify them and maybe go talk to their parents after the fact. Yeah. Yes.
Matt Howells, and I'm the executive director of Cherish Chance, so we're in the Brea Dam area.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, we could call every day. How much do you actually want us to call?
So, like anything, we prioritize our own calls for service. So, if we have the resources and the manpower, and we will come out. Absolutely. I mean, you could call every day if you want to. Again, we are going to prioritize as we need to. The dam is tough. I have personally got my patrol car stuck there, driving down the dirt road. So now I'm on a motorcycle, which I'm probably not going to take down there. So, but we do have a couple dirt bikes, and we have our side-by-side, like our Razor, which we can take down there. So if it's and especially if it's a constant problem, the more that you call, the more it's gonna put in our ear, like, hey, we need to get down there. So I would say call, and if we don't get there in time, we don't get them, then it is what it is. Yeah. Yes?
I know you ticket the kids on the bike, and eventually, does the parent get ticketed as well?
We can cite the parents also, yeah. Yeah, and there was a new law change. We can also, it took effect, I believe, January 1st. We can do a diversion program, they call it, which requires the kids to take a class through the highway patrol.
Can you
Yes.
share,
I'm sorry.
share with us about the ordinance?
Yes, real quick question?
In order to cite the parents and everybody, you have to physically see this being, taking effect.
Yes,
That's the problem.
and we have to detain them, which again, like I said, we're not chasing them, so if they don't stop, then, you know. And sometimes we know who it is, you know, especially our school resource officers, they know their constituents, their students, so. I apologize, I don't have this on the slides, so I'm just gonna read some quick verbiage from from our new law, which just passed, I believe it was Tuesday night at council. There's a second reading, I'm told. I'm not super familiar with the process, but there's another reading of that municipal code, I think, next month, and then it'll be in effect after that. So it is on the books, but it's not active at the moment. Sorry. So initially, the law describes all of the different bicycle category e-bikes that we are that are going to be covered by the law, and then it has several different behaviors or actions that are going to be no longer allowed in Fullerton per the municipal code. So I'll go through a couple of those super quick. I know I'm out of time here. Intentionally swerving around stopped or slowed traffic, operating in a manner it was not designed for, including carrying passengers if it's not built for carrying passengers, not obeying posted signs, intentionally lifting one or more wheels into the air while riding on a highway, bike lane, or bike path. So it's a wheelie. I feel like they could have just put wheelie there. But, acrobatic tricks or stunts, operating in a manner that endangers the operator, passengers, other motorists, other riders, or pedestrians, operating on any public drainage facility, culvert, ditch, or channel, failing to yield to pedestrians, operating at a speed greater than 5 miles per hour on the sidewalk, and hitching yourself to a car. So in other words, you're riding and you grab onto the person's car, their mirror. Allowing others to cling to the device while riding, ignoring posted signs, operating in any public park, operating at a speed over 10 miles per hour on unpaved hiking, equestrian, or walking trails. That's going to apply to a lot of the loop. And 15 miles per hour on any paved trail, and then using your cell phone while riding.
So does this only apply to, because there's the legal e-bikes, there's the e-motorbikes, and then there's bicycles. Who does this apply to?
It's going to apply to all e-bikes.
Okay,
Yes.
so legal e-bikes, completely separate from the illegal ones?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because they're already
Yes.
legal on their own.
And then the law also covers the motorized scooters. We saw the sort of a flat stand-up board.
So does this actually then allows for, since it states it allows for people to ride an e-bike on a sidewalk?
Yes.
Does that open up the city to any kind of liability, allowing someone to ride a bike 5 miles an hour on the sidewalk?
It could. I mean, I that would be another thing that's above my pay grade. I don't know. Possibly.
And that code is for Fullerton, or is that state?
That's a Fullerton municipal code.
Yeah.
All right.
All righty, thank you. Well, let's give it up for Corporal Brayer. Thank you for that helpful introduction to the complicated issues that are very real all around us. And I'm sure all of us, if we pair up here, we've got stories to tell already. So hopefully we can get ahead on this for all of us and for the schools. Gosh, that's quite a challenge. So anyways, thank you again for coming. All right, we are going to have next member spotlight, America on Track. Alejandra is going to come up and share with us. Again, talking about another issue that's a significant issue in our cities and with our kids. So thank you, Alejandra.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alejandra Cook, and I work for America on Track. We're a local nonprofit. We're actually in the city of Santa Ana. That's where our office is, but we do work in the cities of Fullerton, Stanton, Santa Ana, and Buena Park. But I'm here to talk to you about tobacco sales to minors. It's going to be really quick. I had a longer presentation, but I'm just going to give you a quick stats of what we've been seeing. We did go out to the stores just to see what kind of products are being sold in our community, in our local stores. And we did find a lot of these small little cigarettes, e-cigarettes, and electronic smoking devices. So I have a box full of them that we were able to purchase in local stores that are flavored tobacco. So obviously this little one that is, it is not meant for children, but they are designed like a small little lemonade or Slurpee kind of thing happening, and it smells really good, and it's just a throwaway. So after 8,000 puffs, you can discard it. And it's only for $3.73 that I was able to purchase it for. So way cheaper than anything else you can buy at a grocery store or a coffee or anything like that.
Or a young person?
A young person purchased this. It wasn't me. So we did do some attempted buys, and I am going to show the results on that. I'm going to have. So what we are proposing in the city of Fullerton, before I go any further, is we are proposing a tobacco retail license, which means that all the retailers that want to sell tobacco products that are not flavored, because obviously California has that flavors tobacco ban, but any cigarette products that are not flavored, for them to have a tobacco retail license, that it actually forces them to show and ask for the ID and to have a lot of the stickers to always, if somebody looks over the age of, under the age of 30, to always ask for an ID or anything like that, the same way that an alcohol license is. So that's what we are proposing for the city. Again, it's to be licensed, to comply with the rules to proximity to youth locations or any youth establishment, to eliminate the sale of tobacco and flavored products, and restrict discounts and redemption. I do have a whole slide on discounts, and then also to designate a portion of that for enforcement, because I know that enforcement means a lot. And then obviously going and talking to a lot of the retailers, to making sure that they are following the rules and that they get educated, because a lot of it is education that we've been seeing. Okay, so here is the problem. This is what we saw, and this is data from December 2025, so it was just very recent. So we saw that more than 1 in 2 tobacco retailers in Fullerton are still selling flavored tobacco products, and I do have a bunch of them. So you can see, and they all vary in prices from $3 to $20, and the youth were able to purchase them. And then the 16 tobacco-only shops are still selling a lot of flavored tobacco products. But when we went out this January, we were able to survey 45 stores, and out of those 45 stores, 5 stores sold. So 11% of those stores were still selling to a lot of minors without asking for their ID. So I did pull the receipt. I did erase where it was, but it was a Ralph's. And if you can see really closely, it says that they bypassed their ID. So they didn't even look at the ID. They did still sell one of these, which if you look at these are, they were selling them 3 for $1.49. It was really cheap. Again, and these are flavored tobacco products, not even talking about the traditional cigarettes. So that's what we wanted to share with you guys. And then also to see the map of Fullerton and all the stores that are here in our city. And we noticed that there's more retailers than parks. So we are seeing a lot of the trend of the retailers right here. So the retailers are in blue, and then everything else. And we're seeing more in the low-income communities, where more apartments are located, where more of the schools. So we just wanted to share that data with you guys. So we are doing presentations. So if you guys have any need of us coming and educate either your staff members, or if you have youth that we can present to, we're more than willing. We are collecting surveys, so we're up to 1,000, over 1,000 surveys, and out of that, we do see the 96% of all the residents that come in either work here, live here, or just come in and see any activity.
You can see your surveys, or also, I also put some around the table, so if you can take one, that would really help us. 96% of them see that they are still selling a lot of the flavored cigarettes out still in the community. But 97% of those Fullerton residents would support a tobacco retail license here in the city as well. So my name is Alejandra, and if you guys want us to come out and do a presentation for you guys, we're more than willing. And we do have a lot of youth and residents also working on this project as well. And I do have a box full of all the stuff that I was able to purchase with the youth that you can come and see them.
All this was bought.
Illegally.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alejandra. And we really wanted them to come because they're trying to do presentations to community members. And so if you have an organization that would benefit from this, please, they're here. They're a free resource for us. The presentations are really helpful, and so we wanted to make sure they got that opportunity. So we do have very quickly a few announcements about our subcommittee reports. As you know, that there are 4 subcommittees in the city, Fullerton Collaborative. And so I'm gonna actually have James go first and share about homelessness. And then we will have health and wellness with Peter. I'll come to you or over now.
Hello, good afternoon. So we will be meeting in person for the homeless subcommittee. It's going to be next Wednesday. We will be at the library again, so the information will be on a flyer. If you all are interested in joining the subcommittee, please go ahead and contact me. I'd be happy to send you the information and happy to have you there.
And we're working on some important areas, just working together with all the organizations. Peter.
Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. So for the Health and Wellness Subcommittee meeting, just as a quick update and reminder, we did change the time that we meet for our Health and Wellness Subcommittee meeting. And so our next meeting is on February the 25th, and it'll be from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and it'll be a virtual meeting. So if you're interested in participating, please reach out to Debbie and she'll provide the link. As far as just an update regarding the Health and Wellness Subcommittee meeting, a lot of our community partners who have regularly participated in the past have been impacted by many different changes happening. And so with that said, our subcommittee is undergoing a process where we're updating our 3-year strategic plan and really trying to distribute the scope of work and updating the scope of work that we've included in our strategic plan. And so if you're interested in participating, we would love to have you join our meeting and provide input and then help support the direction for the subcommittee for the next 3 years.
And so I have been tasked to have many hats right now. I am also going to report out on Next Gen, which is our youth subcommittee. We have been working with the city of Fullerton and discussing with the youth committee how we can support our young voices to make a difference in our city. And so they have a newly formed youth committee that meets monthly on the 4th Monday. You are welcome to go. It's a public meeting in the chamber. And they are planning a government day, a youth government day for approximately 30 youth in the city of high school all the way down to 8th graders going to come to be able to learn about the government. And it will be a great event. They are planning the event on March the 25th, which is a Wednesday for our young people. In addition to that, we are looking at a youth summit, which will be a larger event for the youth. And we are encouraging organizations to be a part of that event, but the young youth are they're gonna have a voice, they're gonna be planning that event, and we're looking at having that in the fall. So be on the lookout for those 2 events. In addition to that, our early childhood, which is looking at how a young person, before they get into kindergarten, helping them do that, just getting that early developmental index. They have meetings as well. Their meeting date will be announced. If you go to our community calendar, all of our subcommittees are actually entered into that community calendar, so you can look at that as well, and how to get the links and who to email. But I do want, Linda wanted me to share about the Fullerton Early Child Care Director Roundtable, which is on February the 19th at noon. And there'll be an RSVP form if you are interested in that, to email Linda, she will send that to you as well. Before we turn it over to partner announcements, which we do have a few minutes for that, I just want to also do a shout out to Sarah. She's behind the computer right now. She's been behind the YouTube. She is our intern for this semester from Cal State Fullerton. And she is helping us with many things with marketing, in addition to that with the community calendar. And as a member benefit, you are able to host your events. And so she can help you. If you're having a hard time getting that code and getting those information, she can help you as well. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah. All right. So before I turn it over, I know Linda, they have an announcement about what's going on, and then anyone else, if you have things going on in this month.
We actually, with Orange County Power Authority, and we hope to make the announcement next month too, but our member cities, we're a not-for-profit, all our profits go back into the community. So we're actually launching one of our first official programs in March, and it'll be from, it's gonna be an opportunity to sign up for renters for a free heat pump, which is a heater and an air conditioner, and a battery to go along with it, so people can use the heat pump on a battery during 4 to 9, which is the most expensive electricity rates. And it's gonna be a sign up and then Karen Farrah priority. So please get my card if you're interested in passing that information along. We'll be back in March to share about it too, but the window is to sign up is March. And so we'll be coming to you with more information in March.
Come back.
So come back, please.
Hi, it's nice to be here with you. I'm Greta Nagel, and I'm here with Mary Deming. We're board members from the Museum of Teaching and Learning. And after doing traveling exhibitions for 20 years, we've opened a facility in Fullerton at the corner of Lemon and Amherst. And thanks to Debbie for passing that information on, because it's a nonprofit center. So we hold events now, and we'd like to tell you about the next event, because we always touch our events, which are fundraisers usually, on something educational. This time we're hosting a fellow who's coming to us, and he chose the title Ship Happens. And the reason is because he's an educator aboard ships. He's a cruise ship educator, and he's sort of a rock star. The last time was Viking apparently, and people flocked to his presentations because he's charming as well as educational.
Anyone else?
The County of Orange is sponsoring a same-day solutions fair. I'm Paulette Chafee from Orange County's 4th District, and a lot of different departments from the County of Orange are going to be there. The probation department will be there, the Department of Motor Vehicles. If someone has lost their license, they can get the brand new license at the fair. There's going to be free haircuts, so that's $20 that someone doesn't have to pay, as well as the Public Law Center, Social Service Agency, the Orange County Hope Center, Department of Rehabilitation. It's going to be from 9 to 1 at the Presbyterian Church in Placentia. So if you know of people that are in need of services, everything is free, and it's one-on-one. People will be talking with those that are coming to the fair.
All right, with that, it is 3:30 minutes. Jane? Oh, we got one more. Oh, we can't forget that. Thanks.
The Women's Club of Fullerton, I'm Jane from the Women's Club of Fullerton, and we're very excited to be taking on the Meals on Wheels annual fundraiser that didn't happen last year, but it's back on track, back at St. Paul Lutheran Church on Las Palmas and Harbor. Empty Bowls is March 7th. It's a fundraiser to raise money for Meals on Wheels.
flyers here, and there's flyers in the back. We have the room until 4 o'clock, so if you want to network some more, please do so, and if not, have a wonderful day, enjoy the rain, I guess, tomorrow, and we'll see you next month. Bye now.
Maybe